Nonsense, said Strickland. They're sure to hide near the walls by the cloth. The bricks are too cold for 'em, and the heat of the room is just what they like. He put his hands to the corner of the cloth and ripped the rotten stuff from the cornice. It gave a great sound of tearing, and Strickland put his head through the opening into the dark angle of the roof beams. I set my teeth and lifted the loading rod, for I had not the least knowledge of what might descend. Said Strickland, and his voice rolled and rumbled in the roof. There's room for another set of rooms up here. By Jove, someone's occupying 'em. Snakes? I said down below. No, it's a buffalo. Hand me up the first joints of a masher rod and I'll prod it. It's lying on the main beam. I handed up the rod. What a nest for owls and serpents. No wonder the snakes live here, said Strickland, climbing further into the roof. I could see his elbow thrusting with the rod. Come out of that, whatever you are. Look out. Heads up below, it's tottering. I said I saw the ceiling cloth nearby in the center of the room bag with a shape that was pressing it downwards and downwards towards the lighted lamps on the table. I snatched a lamp out of danger and stood back. The cloth ripped out from the wall, tore, split, swayed, and shot down upon the table, something that I dared not look at till Strickland had slid down the ladder and was standing by my side. He did not say much, being a man of few words, but he picked up the loose end of the tablecloth and threw it over the thing on the table. It strikes me, said he, pulling down the lamp, our friend Imray has come back. Oh, would you? There was a movement under the cloth, and a little snake wriggled out, to be back-broken by the butt of the masher rod. I was sufficiently sick to make no remarks worth recording. Strickland meditated, and helped himself to drinks liberally. The thing under the cloth made no more signs of life. Is it Imray? I said. Strickland turned back the cloth for a moment, and looked. It's Imray, he said, and his throat is cut from ear to ear. Then we spoke both together and to ourselves. That's why he whispered about the house. Tetchens in the garden began to bay furiously. A little later her great nose heaved upon the dining-room door. She sniffed and was still. The broken and tattered ceiling cloth hung down almost to the level of the table, and there was hardly room to move away from the discovery. Then Tietjens came in and sat down, her teeth bared and her forepaws planted. She looked at Strickland. It's a bad business, old lady, he said. Men don't go up on the roofs of their bungalow to die, and they don't fasten up the ceiling cloth behind 'em. Let's think it out. Let's think it out somewhere else, I said. Excellent idea. Turn out the lamps. We'll get into my room. I did not turn the lamps out. I went into Strickland's room first and allowed him to make the darkness. Then he followed me, and we lighted tobacco and thought. Strickland did the thinking. I smoked furiously because I was afraid. Imray is back, said Strickland. The question is, who killed Imray? Don't talk. I've a notion of my own. When I took this bungalow, I took most of Imray's servants. Imray was guileless and inoffensive, wasn't he? I agreed, though the heap under the cloth looked neither one thing nor the other. If I call the servants, they will stand fast in a crowd and lie like Aryans. What do you suggest? Calling them one by one, I said. They'll run away and give the news to all their fellows, said Strickland. We must segregate 'em. Do you suppose your servant knows anything about it? He may, for aught I know, but I don't think it's likely. He has only been here 2 or 3 days. What's your notion? I asked. Can't quite tell. How the dickens did the man get the wrong side of the ceiling cloth? There was a heavy coughing outside of Strickland's bedroom door. This showed that Badur Khan, his body servant, had waked from sleep and wished to put Strickland to bed. Come in, said Strickland. It's a very warm night, isn't it? Badur Khan, a great green-turbaned 6-foot Mohammedan, said that it was a very warm night, but that there was more rain pending, which, by his honour's favour, would bring relief to the country. It will be so, if God pleases, said Strickland, tugging off his boots. It is in my mind, Badur Khan, that I have worked through thee remorselessly for many days, ever since the time when thou first came into my service. What time was that? Has the heaven-born forgotten? It was when Imray Sahib went secretly to Europe without warning given, and I, even I, came into the honored service of the protector of the poor. And Imreeb Sahib went to Europe? It is said so among the servants. And thou wilt take service with him when he returns? Assuredly, Sahib. He was a good master, and cherished his dependents. That is true. I am very tired, but I can go buck shooting tomorrow. Give me the little rifle that I use for black buck. It is in the case yonder. The man stooped over the case, banded barrels, stock, and forend to Strickland, who fitted them together. Yawning dolefully, he then reached down to the gun case, took a solid drawn cartridge, and slipped it into the breech of the 360 Express. And Imray Sahib has gone to Europe secretly? That is very strange, Badr Khan, is it not? What do I know of the white men, heaven-born? What do I know of the ways of the white men, heaven-born? Very little, truly. But thou shalt know more. It has reached me that Imray Sahib has returned from his so long journey, and that even now he lies in the next room, waiting his servant. Sahib! The lamplight slid along the barrel of the rifle as they leveled themselves against Badr Khan's broad breast. Go then, and look, said Strickland. Take a lamp. My master is tired, and he waits. Go. The man picked up a lamp and went into the dining room, Strickland following and almost pushing him with the muzzle of the rifle. He looked for a moment at the black depths behind the ceiling cloth, at the carcass of the mangled snake underfoot, and last, a grey glaze settling on his face, at the thing under the tablecloth. Hast thou seen? Said Strickland, after a pause. I have seen. I am clay in the white man's hands. What does the presence do? Hang thee within a month. What else? For killing him? Nay, Sahib, consider. Walking amongst us, his servants, he cast his eyes upon my child, who has 4 years old. Him he bewitched, and in 10 days he died of the fever. My child! What said Imray Sahib? He said he was a handsome child, and he patted him on the head, wherefore my child died. Wherefore I killed Imray Sahib in the twilight when he came back from the office and was sleeping. The heaven-born knows all things. I am the servant of the heaven-born. Strickland looked at me above the rifle and said, in the vernacular, Thou art witness to this saying, He has killed. Badr Khan stood ashen grey in the light of the one lamp. The need for justification came upon him very swiftly. I am trapped, he said, but the offence was that man's. He cast an evil eye upon my child, and I killed and hid him. Only such as are served by devils. He glared at Tetchins, crouched solidly before him. Only such could know what I did. It was clever, but thou shouldst lashed him to the beam with a rope. Now thou wilt hang by a rope. Orderly! A drowsy policeman answered Strickland's call. He was followed by another, and Tetchins sat still. Take him to the station, said Strickland. There is a case toward. Do I hang, then? Said Badr Khan, making no attempt to escape and keeping his eyes on the ground. If the sun shines or the water runs, thou will hang, said Strickland. Badr Khan stepped back 1 pace, quivering, and stood still. The 2 policemen waited for further orders. Go, said Strickland. Nay, but I go very swiftly, said Badr Khan. Look, I am even now a dead man. He lifted his foot, and to the little toe there clung the head of a half-killed snake, firm fixed in agony of death. I come of landholding stock, said Badr Khan, rocking where he stood. It were a disgrace for me to go to the public scaffold. Therefore I take this way. Be it remembered that the Sahib's shirts are correctly enumerated, and that there is an extra piece of soap in his wash-bin. My child was bewitched, and I slew the wizard. Why should you seek to slay me? My honor is saved, and I die. At the end of the hour he died, as they die who are bitten by the little cariat, and the policeman bore him and the thing under the tablecloth to their appointed places. They were needed to make clear the disappearance of Imray. This, said Strickland very calmly as he climbed into bed, is called the 19th century. Do you hear what that man said? I heard, I answered. Imray made a mistake. Simply and solely through not knowing the nature and coincidence of the seasonal fever, Badr Khan has been with him for 4 years." I shuddered. My own servant had been with me for exactly that length of time. When I went over to my own rooms, I found him waiting, impassive as the copper head on a penny, to pull off my boots. "What has befallen Badr Khan?" said I. "He was bitten by a snake and died. The rest the Sahib knows," was the answer. "How much of the matter hast thou known?" "As much as might be gathered from one coming in the twilight to seek satisfaction. Gently, Sahib, let me pull off those boots." I had just settled to the sleep of exhaustion when I heard Strickland shouting from his side of the house, "Tietjens has come back to her room!" And so she had. The great deerhound was couched on her own bedstead, on her own blanket. In the next room of the idle, empty ceiling cloth wagged light-heartedly as it flailed on the and in the next room the idle, empty ceiling cloth wagged light-heartedly as it flailed on the table. End of The Coming of Imre by Rudyard Kipling.